How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Emnix Plays Path of Exile. I am so sick. And the story progresses. I'm so friggin' sick, man. Um, a few days ago, my daughter got sick. If you've been following the videos, and at first it was like it's not too bad. You know, she's doing okay. And I'm feeling okay. But this morning, I felt like crap, and I've got a bit of a cold now. I, I, I should be getting some sleep. So let's just keep this short. I think we'll try to complete Act 4. I wanted to do the labyrinth today as well, but depending on how fast we rush through this, we may or may not have time. At this point, we're in Act 4. We're just kind of going through the quest lines, going through the motions. The character, again, it's in a good spot. And really, oh my god, wait, never mind. As I'm saying that, never mind. Ow, it's so loud too. Hold on. Let me just lower it a little bit. That was exceptionally loud. Okay, so where are we looking at in terms of... Right, I was looking at a little bit of mana. So mana regen would not hurt, actually. And then getting the mastery that allows me to not spend as much mana reservation would be pretty good as well. But as I was saying, you know, right now the characters is in a pretty good spot. I'm gonna stop leveling up clarity so that I have a decent mana pool. Obviously, as you level clarity, it's gonna reserve more mana. And that's sort of the case with all of the auras that reserve flat mana. As you level them up more, they kind of reserve more and more. Compared to the ones that reserve percentage mana, like heralds, for example, they reserve 25%, and even as you level them, they'll always reserve 25%. So you don't need to worry about that as much with the percentage ones, but with the flat reservation cost skills, you do have to, you know, you can keep leveling them, but they'll just cost more and more, and you have to keep that in mind. So I think mana regeneration is at a pretty good spot, especially since I just took 2 mana nodes. And like I was saying, you know, I think our character is in a good spot, damage-wise, defense-wise. And you might not think it, right? Because just now we took a whole bunch of damage, but I feel like if you play safely, and if you play, you know, all the stats are there. You just gotta make sure that, you know, you take care of movement at this point. So, you know, make sure that you're always moving around. You know, don't stand still while you're casting your skills. I know that's kind of hard to do when this is a 2-button skill, right? It's like you cast Frostbolts, and then or you don't channel, but then you also cast Ice Nova, and that kind of requires you to stand still. So I get that part, but you still you gotta use your movement speed skills. You gotta use your flasks, and then as long as you keep doing that, it's gonna be fine. So in that sense, like, we have enough stats to be fine, but we still have to be careful. Midnight Bargain, that is a summoner wand. Obviously that's not very good for us, but it's pretty cool. And as you know, progress through the story, typically you will find a bunch of uniques. And one thing that I just need to warn you is to not blindly equip uniques, right, or legendaries, whatever you want to call it, thinking that it's going to be better. Because in this game, most of the time, rares are going to be better. And the point of uniques is sometimes they're like a big stat stick, but most of the time they're supposed to be used to alter your build in a way that, like, normal items cannot. So unique as in they're truly unique. They have like unique stats. That's not always the case. Oftentimes they're just like big stat points, right? Like this ring that I have, I'm still equipped with it. Really, the unique stat here is you can apply an additional curse, and that's why you would equip something like this. But I'm actually equipping it purely for the elemental resistances. So if I can find a ring with more resistance than this thing, you know, I would happily switch it out. But 19 to all elemental resistance is pretty high compared to a ring like this, which just gives me 11, right? So
A king of swords is nothing.
okay, so we're getting through this area really quickly. I always find that I can get to the Duresso area super quick, and then the calm one takes me a lot longer. So I typically do the calm one first, and I save the easier one for last. So Duresso, you just need to make sure that you're a little careful of these blades. If you stand on top of them, you're going to take a lot of damage. And then after, like here, he bends the knee and then he becomes enraged. So if you don't have enough damage or defenses to take him on, while he has that red thing around him and he's enraged, you can kite him. In our case, there is enough damage, just assuming that, you know, you're running a similar build with similar damage or similar items that I have. So really, there's not much to be concerned about, as long as, again, you're properly kiting him and you properly manage your flasks. The key here, if you think about it, is in the life flasks. If you've been like upgrading your life flasks as we're going along the story, you should have pretty good flasks at this point. Oh, this might be a better belt. This is definitely a better chest. Oh, but that one has a 4-link. I can't really sack a 4-link right now, huh? Okay, so we'll sell this. But yeah, making sure you just gotta make sure that you have good flasks, just so that, you know, when you find yourself at low life, 50% life, 30% life, you can quickly hit your flasks. If you want to, you can roll it to apply instantly, you know, something like this. But I didn't even bother rolling it, right? That's just how it came. These gloves are they are better. I lose some strength. Is that okay? Oh, okay, that's fine. And the only reason I'm worried about strength is because I have so little. So if I had any red gems, I basically would not be able to equip them. And then this is just a straight up better belt. Okay, what are my defenses like? 75, 59, 75.
Yes.
That's good enough. Just gotta be a little careful with cold damage, but otherwise we are a-okay. Okay. Everything else is looking pretty good. So we're gonna take the next quest item and we are gonna give it to Lady Diala. And now we're gonna go fight the beast. Somehow Malika has gone and corrupted the beast. And actually, before we do that, we're gonna go talk to Diala because I think she gives Spell Echo as a support gem reward. And that would be great for our build. Yeah, there's Spell Echo. Is there anything else? Spell Echo, there's multiple projectiles, which might be good too. Okay. Okay, so let's take Spell Echo first of all. And that will replace Controlled Destruction, I guess. And then I'm gonna go ahead and grab... Can I still buy another one?
Yes.
Is there... There's Greater Volley. 30% less damage versus GMP, which is 35% less damage. I can try Greater Volley. I don't know if Greater Volley feels better. I can buy both and I'll test them out.
Yes.
So we can either do Greater Multiple Projectiles or Greater Volley. And how does that look? So Ice Nova with Spell Echo. Basically, I cast it twice. On a Frostbolt, it gets cast 4 times. Okay. And then with Greater Multiple Projectiles instead of Greater Volley, it just kind of spreads out. Maybe I like Volley better. Excuse me. There's a higher chance that it overlaps. And then we get like a nice shotgun effect, maybe. So let's just give that a try. And see how the damage is like. Okay. Oh wow, there's a lot of bleeding damage here. Unfortunately, I'm not one-shotting these things, which is kind of annoying because by the time I need to cast Ice Nova again, this projectile has already like it's already long gone. So like my Ice Nova won't be able to hit it again. That's kind of annoying. But I guess it's fine. Okay, and with this, I'm gonna take mana reservation of skills. And now you can see we have a lot more mana available to us because now we're not reserving as much mana. So I think before I had like 260, 270 mana available. Now it's 323. Which probably means I could throw another aura of some sort. It would probably have to be a defensive aura, now that I'm looking at it. Something like Grace for evasion, or... How much does one of these heralds cost? 362 to 416. So like 150 mana. So 308 is 50% of my mana, plus 150 is like 450, plus another 100 is 450 plus 100, 550. I have 700. Okay, so I do have the space for it. So I could go to the library. Let's Grace. So let's grab a defensive aura. And what Grace does is it basically just adds flat evasion rating. And then it gives you a little bit more like, and then you get more evasion rating as well. So like, you know, it adds 227 to your total evasion, which brings it up to, I don't know, 300. And then you get 20% more based off what your total rating is. So now we're at 807 evasion, which gives us 39% chance to evade attacks. It's still better than what we had before, which was like 13% chance. And then I have to drop one of my heralds, otherwise I won't have enough mana. So we're gonna do something like this. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing. I do need some defenses, I think. As you get later into the game, you know, you just need to stack more and more layers of defense. I know I was saying like, oh, you know, our defenses are fine, and I think they would be if we just kept playing like this. But again, you know, let's pretend that we're just like completely new to the game, don't know what we're doing, we're playing it super slow, and I don't really want to go in with, you know, as like a huge glass cannon and just die 100 times. Let's try to not die that many times. let's just try that, huh? Is that okay? And like slash stats. How many times have I died? I've died 1 time so far. When did I die? I don't even remember. Nothing here. Okay, how far are we? 14 minutes? Okay, let's try and go a little bit faster, shall we? Ow, the bleed is really screwing me. It hurts. It's because I don't have that much armor, so I take like all kinds of physical damage, and then when that causes me to bleed, you know, bleed scales off of the base physical damage that you take. So, wow, I have a lot of gems that I had to level. Holy cow. But yeah, so like if you take a whole bunch of damage and then they cause bleeding, I have no armor, right? I went for evasion instead. We have 42% chance to evade, which is like pretty decent. It's gonna help a lot for sure. But probably what I want to do is look into some kind of defensive flask as my next defensive item.
I need more mana.
Mana's still a bit of a problem too. Actually, no, regen is pretty good. And I get mana on kill with my unique ring. So as long as I'm killing things, I really shouldn't be worried about much. Okay, so we do need to, stay a little bit further back.
Too much clutter.
My god, everything needs to be leveled. Okay.
Be happy for me, sister. It's not often we get to erase our failures.
Okay, so piety. You just have to be careful of this laser. Once she's casting this laser, don't get greedy and try to hit her. Just run around in circles because that thing really hurts. Unless you're playing like something with a good amount of armor or defenses, there's a good chance you'll get one-shotted by that laser. It causes bleeding, it does a lot of base damage. I'm pretty confident this thing's gonna kill me, so I don't really want to die. So I'm gonna play carefully here. And as always, you can use your movement skill, and while you're flame dashing or whatever, you tend to have
Mistakes can be our greatest achievements.
basically invulnerability frames, so you can dash through the laser. That's not the case for all skills. I think there's another crafting recipe here, by the way. I think whirling blades, leap slam, for example,
It seems I underestimated piety. Good.
are
I like surprises.
I think if you try to dash through the laser with those skills, you might get hit anyways and you'll die. So just be aware of that in case you're playing like hardcore or something. Okay, so now we are in the harvest, and then the harvest is kind of interesting. You have to kill like 3 mini bosses in order to complete the zone, or in order to actually get to the boss fight. So you actually need to sort of I'm gonna sell some of my armor scraps because I really don't need them, and I need ID scrolls. And then just sell these. Ooh, this is a pretty good belt. Yeah, we get resistances. We get life. We get chaos res. Yeah, that's amazing. What was I saying?
You will be remembered.
Yeah, so make sure you budget enough time. Like if you need to go in 10 minutes, you can't really do this quest in one go. Oh, you have to do it in one shot, basically. When you kill a boss, they're gonna drop like a part, a body part, an organ part. That's like kind of the quest line. And then you need to kill all 3 mini bosses in order to fight the final boss, which is the act boss. And if you have to log out, or if you need to go for whatever, I don't know, if you AFK and then you get logged out, I think you lose the part basically, and then you have to fight the boss again, or you have to do the zone again. So just keep that in mind. I could be wrong, but I think you can't just do it piecemeal. So I could be talking out my ass, but maybe don't risk it if you gotta go. Try and budget like 20 minutes, 15, if you are like if you can run this fast, you can probably do it in 5 to 10 minutes. But you know, if you're trying to clear the entire zone and then looking at all the items that drop and then this and that, you know, you might take a good 20 minutes doing this. In our case, I think it's only gonna take 5, maybe even shorter. Who knows? Let's see, what time is it right now? 20-minute mark. Let's see how long it takes for us to actually get to the boss. I remember I used to take a long time in this zone right here, but looking at my damage, I feel like we're gonna be pretty good. Ow, this guy hurts though. Okay, Malachi's heart.
Critical, but better.
1 second. Someone's missing. Okay. I think I mentioned last time, doing some renovations for the house. I'm just getting messages from every people giving me advice. Oh, you should think about doing this, you should think about doing that. I'm like, I'm so confused now. I don't even know what I want to do anymore. But yeah, I'm like getting all kinds of messages. And it's so expensive too. It feels so bad, man. It's like you want to make your house yours or feel like yours, but at the same time, you don't want to spend that much money.
Too much clutter.
It's like adult problems, I feel like. You know, I never thought about this when I was like poor student in college. Like, oh, this is how I want my dream house to look like, and yeah, I'm down to drop like huge wads of money to get that done. Like back then, I'm just like, I don't need a bed. I remember thinking at one point, like, I don't need a bed. I can just sleep on the mattress on the floor. At most, you know, I'll get a box spring, and like I lived like that as a student for like 5 years, and I was perfectly fine with it. And now it's like, no, I need a king-size bed. It's just better. This boss fight, I mean, at this point, I might die. I would prefer not to. But the key to this boss fight, unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention. There's 3 rings on the floor. The red one makes you take more damage. The green one makes you do less damage. And the purple one just makes you slower. And if you sit in the middle, you know, it hits you with all 3. So you just want to make sure that you basically don't sit in the red one, because that's typically how you would die. If you do less damage, you know, you just draw out the fight a little longer, but... Alright, we got him. I ran out of flash charges there, which is why things started getting a little spicy. Ah, man, I would love a wand upgrade. That would be helpful. Game could do me a solid. So that fight was hard just because I think he was doing physical damage, I think. I want to say it's physical damage. And my physical defenses are super bad, right? I have no armor, and that's basic, and no physical damage reduction. You know, it is what it is. So I have all the elemental reductions, right?
What do you need
but
now?
if they're not doing elemental damage, if they're doing physical damage, I just take it, and you can kind of tell. That's what happens if you don't have defenses in this game, right? You just kind of eat shit. Long story short. Okay, so we don't need these gems anymore. I can keep Add a Cold, maybe. No, I don't have a slot for it. I'll just keep it here.
Go where you are needed.
Okay. Okay, so we have an Orb of Binding. That's kind of interesting. We can use that later. We can definitely use that later.
I have been expecting you, witch. You and I are about to create the most beautiful of nightmares together. Will you go to bed now, little girl? Or do I need to tuck you in?
Now, Exile!
Okay, so this fight, we're going to be fighting Malachi in the belly of the beast. Or like in the heart of the beast, or whatever. And going back to the story, Malachi's basically managed to get into the heart of the beast and then corrupt him and then take his powers. And our goal here is to just kill Malachi. And the fight goes in phases. Whenever you're fighting Malachi, or whenever he's like this, you can fight Malachi and Piety's weakening him. But once Piety does this, kill me, when she starts yelling, you have to switch targets to Piety. Because Malachi becomes invulnerable. You do this twice, and then, well, he's stuck in phase transformation, but he kills Piety, as you can see. And then that's it for her. And then we just go down a black card. And then this is where you do the final fight. The fight, again, it goes in phases. When he hits like the 30% HP mark and the 60%, to trigger one of these hearts. And you just gotta destroy the hearts first before you can keep fighting him. We are doing a lot of damage right now, I just noticed. So like, again, see Heart of the Beast. Just go ahead and destroy those. Watch out when he does that move. It's a very big wind-up, and typically what you'll find in this game is if there are big wind-ups, it typically means you're about to take a lot of damage. So just try and not get hit by that one. It will do a lot.
The gift of immortality.
Okay, second heart down. Again, it's the big wind-up attack. Just make sure you dodge that. Okay, last heart.
Nightmare is the true why? Are you so in love with
Our
death?
build does really well against big and mobile enemies, actually. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this build can do once the new support gem comes out. And the idea is next league, there's going to be a support gem coming out that makes your projectiles return to you. So right now, my issue is when I'm fighting a boss, after my second cast or so, you know, this my frost bolts are gone, so I need to recast it. But I'm hoping that I can, like, with the return projectile support gem, I can like shoot this at a wall, keep casting, it bounces off of a wall, comes back, and I can keep doing this, and just get like a whole bunch of casts on my Ice Nova. That's sort of what I'm hoping for. So we're gonna have to see next league when that comes out. I saw the support gem. That was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, oh, maybe we can play Frostbolt Ice Nova again. And unfortunately, the skill is like so off meta that I can't even find a good guide for it. So I was actually planning on following a guide, but instead I'm kind of forced to just wing it.
You will be what you need now.
But it's fine, I guess. You know, it's a good way for me. I figured this is a good way for me now to kind of show, you know, how you would go about making a build. Unfortunately, I'm terrible at making builds, right? I just need to put that out there. But I don't know, maybe we'll get lucky. We'll see. Okay, so I'm thinking actually that I buy these gloves. No, my current gloves are pretty good. But I'm hoping I hit something good with an Orb of Binding. Basically what an Orb of Binding does is, and well, it says so right there, it turns a normal item to a rare item with 4 linked sockets. So it's really good if you want to just generate a 4-link. This is basically the game telling you, hey, you should have a 4-link by now, right? So let me just hit it. Okay, I hit awful rolls. Just god awful rolls. Man. But the helmet isn't any better. At least this thing has mana. This thing has nothing. But I need colors. Can I get a green? Oh, green, green, red. No. 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 One green? Good enough. So I can do something like this. And then I have slots to put other things in there. I could put a curse. Ooh. Problem is, once I unequip this helmet, I lose so much dexterity that none of my dexterity gems work. Ooh, that's a problem. I probably need to take this 32 dexterity node next then.
Ah, of course.
Okay. Okay. It's fine. Oh, my chest is pretty garbage too, huh? Okay, it's fine, it's fine.
What do you need now?
Maybe it's not fine for now. Let's save these gloves, and for now we keep these since it still gives us so much defense. And then we will equip this later on though, once I find a better helmet maybe, or a better chest. And Orgy, I was gonna end it here, but feel like we should go and do the lab. Basically, I'm just trying to make an excuse to play a little bit more. Why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. It's fine, right? So, assuming you've done all of your trials, in Act 3, you could access this, you know, at the end of Act 3 pretty much. But the thing is, the boss kind of hard to fight. So I tend to do it while I'm a little over leveled. I think a lot of people do it by the end of Act 3, beginning of Act 4. You pick the normal labyrinth, and then you just kind of go through the labyrinth. Fight the bosses. He has 3 phases. You fight him 3 times. And then you get your ascendancy. And the ascendancy is actually super important in this game. It's basically your subclass. You can choose one of 3 subclasses. And it allows you to get some major power boosts to your character. So, or power spikes really. That's when you hit like one of your power spikes. Every time you ascend, and you can ascend 4 times. Not to say you can get 4 different classes, but each time you ascend, you get 2 ascendancy points that you can spend towards your ascendancy class. So in total, there's 8 ascendancy points. And each time you ascend, you hit like a big power spike. So you do want to do one of these, you know, as soon as possible. Here's another crafting recipe, by the way. But the Zaro fight, it could be difficult. And the thing with this fight is if you die, you have to do the whole thing again. Not to say you have to do all the trials again, but you have to redo the labyrinths from the beginning. Which is why you kind of want to be at a point where, you know, you have either good damage or good defenses so you don't get one-shotted by this guy. In our case, we have good damage. I think I have good defenses, but I'm not going to test my luck with him. Alright, so the key in the labyrinth actually is you just keep running to the top right. There is a website called PoE Lab, which essentially someone runs these map layouts like every day. It's so much work. I can't believe someone's doing this, but there is somebody or a team of people running these map layouts because it resets every day. It's a labyrinth, right? The labyrinth resets every day, and there's a team that runs it, and they draw out the layout on like which direction to go in order to get all like maximize your rewards. Because aside from just doing the lab, there's like reward chests, and there are like gauntlet challenges and this and that, and there's ways for you to maximize rewards. If you want, you can follow the map. It's called poelab.com, but if you're too lazy to do that like me, typically at the top right, you just keep running to the top right, and that'll take you to these to the boss fights. So I typically, you know, skip all the other content in the labyrinth, and there's plenty of other stuff you can do in here, but it takes longer, obviously.
Nobility is a lie.
Okay. Oh. When he does that jump, I'm like super scared because I'm not sure.
You are inexhaustible.
I haven't upgraded the mana flask in a long time, thinking that I would never need it. Now I kind of need it. So I'm actually hoping that a mana flask drops, and I need to just remember to actually equip it. Because this entire time I've been going with the thought process that I don't need mana flasks. I might just need it. Oh, this is annoying. So apparently, well, it's not even apparently, the labyrinth is one of the most hated pieces of content in this game just because nobody actually likes, everyone wants to just fight stuff and kill things and drop loot and all that. They don't want to be running these mazes. And as you do higher tiers of the labyrinth, you know, like I said, there's 8 points, which means, you know, there's higher versions of these labs. As you do the higher tiered ones, these traps get deadlier and deadlier, and it's more about traversing these traps than actually killing the bosses. The bosses, you know, is still hard to fight and all, but it's more about like finding your way around the map, avoiding the traps, not getting killed by traps. A lot of people die from the traps. And you know, they released this again. This is league content. Was this league content? It was like an expansion content. And you know, the draw of it is like, hey, you can run these mazes, and you know, these mazes regenerate every day, and the fastest lab like maze runner gets like these cool rewards. And they made it sound so cool, and then it was like 2 weeks later, 2 leagues later, or maybe even not a 2 leagues later, like a league later, they find out that like everyone hates running these labs because it's just such a chore. So in Path of Exile 2, I think the labs are going to be gone, but for now these still exist. So if you're thinking like, man, I hate the lab, that's the only reason why I'm not playing Path of Exile, just know that in PoE 2 they are getting rid of that. Who says that GGG doesn't listen to the community? Alright, so we got a unique helmet. I actually don't know what that thing is.
Too much clutter.
What is this? Will Clash. Chance to block spell damage per power charge, increase elemental damage per power charge, gain a power charge every second, lose all charges when you block. This is a cool item. Okay. Just to start, you get treasure keys when you kill a Zaro. Depending on how you do the lab, like I said, there's extra content. You can get more treasure keys. Unfortunately, I rushed through this content, so I only got 1 treasure key, and I got garbage. And then you hit the divine font, which basically lets you enchant a glove. Oh, excuse me. And I'm actually thinking I enchant the 4-link here. And I get Word of Winter, which is like whatever. Okay, this is all whatever. The one thing you don't want to forget is this Altar of Ascendancy, because this is what you want, okay? The Divine Font, you would want it later. Typically, you use it to enchant helmets, but when you do this first version of the lab, you can only enchant gloves. It's alright, it doesn't matter too much. So we're going Occultist. There's 3 Ascendancy classes per character, and you get to choose one of them. So, oh, I'm getting stuffy. Hold on, I need to blow my nose. I did that off mic. Hopefully, no one heard it. But yeah, so you can do the Occultist, which basically prioritizes chaos damage, cold damage, and curses. I think you can do Elementalist, who just basically prioritizes like elemental damage. They're like really good at elemental damage. And no Necromancer, who's like the default summoner subclass in this game. So a lot of people play Necromancers to play actual Necromancers. You can play summoners without being a Necromancer, but I would say a lot of people play Necros first for minion builds. We're going to Occultist, so I'm just going to go ahead and say Ascend. And I actually don't know what are the first 2 points I want to get. Cursed enemies you kill have a 50% chance to explode. That's pretty good. Nearby enemies have less cold resistance. That's pretty good too. Regenerate energy shield per second. Cannot be stunned while you have energy shield. I mean, I don't have much energy shield. Okay, so really, this is a choice between Void Beacon or Profane Bloom. What happened to Malediction? Is it gone? Huh? Okay. There's Forbidden Power, which gives power charges, but I don't think I need that right now. This would probably be my last node. Less cold resistance. Or explosions. I think cold resistance. I think I'll go for Void Beacon. Nearby enemies have less cold resistance. Oh, jeez. Profane Bloom is a pretty cool skill, though. I think I want... Okay, I think Void Beacon is the better skill. I think Profane Bloom is the cooler skill. It does nothing against boss fights, which is probably where you want your Power Spike to be. But this looks really cool. And I'm going to explain, like, you're going to have to see, right? So basically the way this passive skill works, and the reason why this is like a huge Power Spike, is when you curse somebody, they have a 50% chance to explode, and then they explode for a quarter of their life. No, I do have a curse, actually, Frostbite. So let's okay, let's just show it. And it kind of changes your build quite a lot, right? So this skill is going to increase our clear speed by a lot, I think. Tell me we got a better wand. Oh my god, I can't get a better wand for the life of me. Oh, and this helmet is decent too, though. Right. Okay. We got a 4 socket on it. I don't have any links, and I can't recolor it. But at least I could do this. Oh, and I need dexterity. I'm going to refund a passive skill. Oh. Ooh. Ooh, that's not great. Okay, let's refund this for now. Get some dexterity on our tree. Alternatively, we could have gone to the crafting bench and crafted some dexterity. And then I guess we're gonna use these gloves then. So we kind of have no choice. Frostbolt, we do lose a little bit of damage. Frostbite can go here. Gonna stop using added cold damage. We're gonna use... we can use Arcane Surge, actually. And then... Sure, we'll continue to use added lightning. Or no, Control Destruction. Yeah, this is good. This is fine. So I think at this point we probably are done with using added cold damage. So let's just sell these. Don't need these anymore.
Good luck to you.
Okay. Frostbolt. Yep. Okay, everything looks good. So we got our Ascendancy. Finished Act 4. Everything's going honky-dory. I didn't get better defenses, unfortunately, but we have better clear. So now... how should I do this? I think... You know what? I think we need to use Blasphemy. Let me look for a support gem real quick. Do I have blue sockets? Probably. It's probably fine.
What is it?
Blasphemy. I don't want to self-cast my curses. Or curse on hit. Curse ground impending.
See you.
Hex touch, I think it's called. Maybe I can get that.
Yes?
What's Hex Bloom? Hexes from supported skills transfer to all enemies in a range when it dies. That's pretty cool. Oh, Hex Touch is enough though. So instead of added Control Destruction, or instead of Arcane Surge, we're gonna do Hex Touch. We don't need Blasphemy
Take
then.
care.
And then we're gonna do Hex Touch, Frostbite. Okay, so basically Frostbolt isn't gonna do damage anymore. But every time something gets hit by Frost Touch or Frostbolt, they will be frostbitten with a curse. Is it working? Yes, it's working. Okay. Okay, yes, yes, yes. Nice. All right, and then every time they die while cursed, they have a chance to explode. Okay. It's not the most optimal. I think I'm looking at it, I'm like, I could have done better with the cold resistance. But look, it just sounds so cool when they die. They pop now. Look at that. Look at that. You can tell me that it's not cool.
Life is short.
And actually, do I have elemental focus here? Okay. So I probably want to drop elemental focus and use something else. I think added lightning might be better. Do I still have it around here? Added lightning instead of elemental focus, and that way I can still freeze enemies. Okay. And then we can take this back. Auras from your skills. Have 10% increased effect on you. Okay. 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 Things are starting to make more sense now. Okay, things are starting to come together. You can kind of tell. So once they get hit by Frostbolt, they become cursed, and then in turn they take more cold damage. And then when they die, they have a 50% chance to explode for a quarter of their life. And what ends up happening is you get this rippling effect of enemies who just take, you know, a whole bunch of well, like if someone was like, you know, at already 25% HP, the explosion will kill them. So you get like this rippling effect. Now it works a lot better with more pack size, which is probably why you typically, you know, grab that node at a later date. And instead you just go for like, you know, less cold resistance, I think. So they have, you know, so they just take more damage right now. But this is such a cool skill. I feel like this is like one of the defining passives for the occultist. At least in my opinion, because it's just, it's so cool. You go, you grab it and you just go for the explosions and stuff just starts popping. Okay. Okay. Things are looking good. And then we also get power charges, which is really nice from this helmet. And that gives us 15% increased elemental damage. So with this helmet, I can actually look into just speccing into power charges. Actually, you know what? I could have definitely... Huh. I definitely could have gone for the power charge stuff right here. Forbidden power. That will give us 18% increased area effect, 18% increased damage, and then one more max power charge. That would have been nice too. Because right now we have 3 power charges. Oh, mana flask. Can't wait for these projectiles to return, by the way. It would basically double our damage, I think. Upgrade to life flask. Perfect. Oh, things are starting to look really good. Okay, so we defeated this boss. Gonna go ahead and enter the Overseer's Tower. And essentially this is Act 5. So you were banished to Rayclast, but then in Act 4, you somehow found the portal that Dominus uses to travel between the land of Orioth, which is the mainland, and Rayclast. And now you're back to take revenge. So now you're back on the mainland. That's sort of the story. Let's take Cold and Cold Rest Ring is fine actually. This is pretty good. This is just a straight upgrade. And now my resistance is okay. Okay, that's pretty good. Man, if only when I used the Orb of Binding I got this instead. This would have been so nice. 66 life, 14 cold res. I can craft another resistance. Why couldn't I have this instead? I want this. Anyways, it's okay. Okay, so we are now in Act 4. I'm gonna go ahead and end it right here. I'm so freaking sick. I'm gonna go ahead and just go pass out. Or no, in Act 4, we're in Act 5 now. 5 more acts to go. Well, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6 more acts. 9 days left before the start of the next league. I'm really hoping that we can get through this, get a little bit further into maps, and just really make sure that the character is going in the right direction. I think when the league starts, we're going to be a little bit more prepared about, you know, which gems to go for. And, you know, hopefully we're not going to take like 2 hours per act like we have been. So I know we've been kind of going through all the different content and explaining it, and that's why I've been so slow, but which is fine. That's the purpose of this series. But once we get into the league, we're gonna try and go a little bit faster, especially since I just don't have as much time. You know, instead of spending 20 hours to get to maps, I would like to spend 10. You know what I mean? And then I have an extra. You know, I have 10 less hours in general. But anyways. Looking forward to playing some more. I missed Path of Exile. I haven't played in a while, and I've been missing it. So this is really scratching the itch in a way that I know I keep going back to it and ragging it in a way that unfortunately D4 wasn't able to. I had a good time with it, but I kept going, man, I should just play PoE. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, as always, you can leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more updates in the future. Otherwise, keep in touch, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.